3 years ago this week, Jeffrey Johnson shot and killed his former boss near the Empire State Building in New York City. All 9 bystander victims were shot by New York police officers. Johnson had just been laid off. He hid in a van outside of the Empire State Building waiting for his former boss. After the shooting, Johnson hid the pistol in his briefcase. Panic ensued, but a construction worker followed him and reported him to the police. Officers ultimately confronted him. He raised his weapon at them, but did not fire. The officers fired a total of 16 rounds, killing Johnson, but also hitting 9 bystanders. 3 of the 9 were hit directly. 6 were hit by debris from ricocheting bullets. Would 8 rounds have been sufficient to drop the suspect, or maybe even 4, as opposed to 16, Lewis? For whatever reason, police firing 16 times and ultimately injuring 9 people. And in these situations, we always have to sort of balance a reflexive criticism of police. 16 rounds. Why? Why is that necessary? With the sort of maybe benefit of the doubt that they did what they thought they had to do to secure the situation, ultimately injuring 9 others in the process.
Yeah, it seemed to be a pretty embarrassing situation for the NYPD. There was one, I guess, bystander, or maybe just someone who happened to be observing this, who said the gunfire lasted for 15 seconds. And if that's the case, I mean, then something is seriously wrong, because presumably this guy would have been dropped in the first few seconds. Maybe not. I don't know. But 15 seconds seems like a long time to continue firing.
This story was 3 years ago, and it brought a ton of criticism against the New York Police Department. And at the time, it was sort of considered an embarrassment for the NYPD. But in thinking back to this story, given what has happened since with stop and frisk and with so many other incidents involving the NYPD, this incident actually doesn't seem as insane. There was clearly a bad guy with a gun here. There were innocent bystanders injured, but it's a far less complex case than some of the really disturbing stuff that we've dealt with regarding the NYPD in the 3 years since this incident.
True. Very true. It seems like what we can gather from this incident was that the NYPD perhaps needs to have stricter, I don't know, what's the term? Training when it comes to targeting and target shooting, and perhaps passing tests where, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe you do need to pass tests based on your accuracy. But
well, I think you do initially. The question is, how often are those requirements kept up, and sort of continuing education going on?
Yes. And so I think, perhaps more testing, more practice, more target shooting can only be a good thing.